watching Miami Temple Kids.
Looking out, it's a great big world. Where do I go? How do I fit in? Gotta keep this one thing on my mind. The maker of all the universe is on my side. And if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, he is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? Yeah, man. God is for me. Looking out, it's a great big world. Where do I go? How do I fit in? Gotta keep this one thing on my mind. The maker of all the universe is on my side. And if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, he is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? When I just don't understand, God is for me. When life doesn't go the way I planned, God is for me. When I just don't understand, God is for me. When life doesn't go the way I planned, God is for me. If God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, he is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me?
Good morning, guys, and happy Sabbath. Today is October 3rd, the first Sabbath of the month. I know I can't believe how fast this year has gone by. Right now, it's time to watch our Sabbath School lesson review with our Miami Temple teachers. Remember, if you're in the primary, juniors, and early teen class, you guys have Zoom lessons at 1 p.m. with your teachers, okay? If you're interested in joining one of our classes, you can email me to children@miamitemple.org, all right? For right now, let's sit back and watch our teachers give their lessons. We'll see you guys in a little bit, okay? Bye!
Oh, let's see the patients I have today. Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Sabbath School Review. I am so happy you're here. I am dressed as a doctor today. Let's clap for the doctors. Everybody clap. Let's clap for the nurses. Yay! Our story today comes from the Bible. I open my Bible book and read, He loves me, He loves me. Our story is about a father by the name of Jairus. Is your father around in the room? Well, give him a big hug. Jairus was a wonderful father, but today he was sad. Could you make a sad face? Aww. He's sad because his daughter is very sick. His little girl is very sick. His little girl cannot get out of bed, and she's sick like Melanie. Yes, Melanie is sick. Her tummy hurts. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better. Which reminds me of our memory verse. Our memory verse is found in 3 John 2, and it says, I pray that your health is good. You have to jump just like that. Let's do it one more time. I pray that your health is good. Good jumping. Well, Jairus wanted Jesus to help him, just like how somebody helped you with your Band-Aid. And Jesus came on a boat. He got out of the boat and the boat kept on rocking. How do boats go? Rock, rock, rock. See the boat on the water. Good rocking, boys and girls. So Jairus ran to Jesus and said, please, oh please, help my daughter. She's very sick. As Jesus went walking, let's walk, 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 walk. Let's go this way. Walk, walk, walk. Another woman needed help, so he couldn't go to the house right away. And Jesus finally reached the house. When they got to the house, Melanie, they heard crying. Can you help me cry? Wah, wah, wah. The little girl fell asleep and they couldn't wake her up. Jesus went into the room, Melanie, and said, little girl, get up. Get up, Melanie. And she was up again. And Jesus said, give her some food. What is your favorite food? I like apples. So they gave her apples. And she was happy and she was fine. Let's jump up and down. She's fine. That was a big celebration. Melanie, Jesus cares. Jesus cared for the little girl. And I want to know if you care. Would you care for me if I was sick? Yes. What would you do if I was sick? I would sing for you. La, 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 la. Oh, that would really make me feel better. What about taking flowers to someone who is sick? Isn't that a great idea? Yes. Or we could take some food. And then we could celebrate. Boys and girls, I pray that your health is good. Celebrate because Jesus cares. Yay! Bye, boys and girls. From the top of my head to the tips of my toes, I will be Jesus' child wherever I go. Bye!
I was sick and you looked after me. Matthew 25:36.
Happy Sabbath, kindergartners. Well, we all know we're in a new lesson study guide. I call it the quarterly. And Christian, thank you for reminding us of the memory verse. And I will go over that a little later. Now, we started talking about Jesus last week. And I'm going to tell you another story about Jesus. There are lots of stories about Jesus. This one is really good. So Jesus had spent a very busy day telling people about his Father God. And he was pretty tired. So he decided to go to his friend's house. This was Peter. Now, the Bible doesn't tell us why he decided to go to Peter's house. Maybe he was hungry. Maybe he wanted to rest. Maybe he just wanted to get away with his friends to talk to them away from all the crowds of people that were always following him. We don't know. But the Bible does tell us what happened when he got there. Now, when he got to Peter's house, there was a problem. Peter's mother-in-law, which is his wife's mother, was sick. And she was in bed. She was so sick, and nothing they had done could help her. So Peter thought, I'm going to ask Jesus to heal her. So he went to Jesus, and he asked Jesus to heal his mother-in-law. So Jesus went into the room where his mother-in-law was lying down, and he told the fever, because she was hot, he told the fever to leave her body. And when Jesus tells the fever to leave, the fever will leave. So she got up immediately. She was well, and she felt so good that she went to the kitchen and she made food for them. She was just deathly ill, and now because Jesus healed her, she was well enough to make food for Jesus and his friends. Now, the people who had seen this, they were surprised, and they were happy, yes, but they were surprised. And one person might have said to the other one, did you just see that? Jesus just told the fever to just go away. And now look at her. She's in the kitchen cooking. And that friend might have told another friend, oh, Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law.
this is awesome. You got to come and see. And that one friend might have told another friend and another friend and that other friend. And pretty soon, people started coming to Peter's house because they wanted Jesus to heal them. And this one came and another one came, and they just kept coming and coming. And Jesus was happy to heal all of them because he never wants to see us in pain or sad. So Jesus healed all those people. Now, by the end of that day, he was super tired, but he was very happy also because he knows that healing will make us feel better. And we can serve God when we help sick people feel better. Now, if you know somebody who's sick, you might want to make them a get well card as your craft this week and decorate it nicely. You can ask your parents. Maybe they know somebody who's sick, even if you don't know somebody who's sick. Now, your memory verse today, as Christian told you, is I was sick, but you looked after me. I was sick, but you looked after me. And that is found in your pretend Bibles, Matthew 25, verse 36. Now, what do you think you should do if you want to stay healthy? I mean, you still might get sick, but what do you think Jesus did when he was like a little boy, a young boy? Well, I have 3 things here that Jesus did that you should also do. Let's look at the first one. Now here, you can see that he's eating something nutritious. When Jesus was a little boy, he ate good food every day. For a healthy body, I want to follow the Jesus way. So there he is eating grapes. Those are good for you. Let's look at the second picture. When Jesus was a little boy, he exercised every day. For a healthy body, I want to follow the Jesus way. I want to be like Jesus. So you need to do your exercises. Let's look at the third one. Now, I know some of you don't like this one. When Jesus was a little boy, he took naps every day. For a healthy body, I want to follow the Jesus way. I want to be like Jesus. So, try and do everything you can to stay healthy. And if you know somebody who's sick, or if you get sick, there are other things that people can do to help you feel better. Now, once again, let's go over our memory verse. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was sick, let's say that, and you looked after me. I said it wrong before. I was sick, and you looked after me. Now remember that all week until we meet each other again next week. Have a great Sabbath, kindergartners. Bye.
Hi, I am Eric. This week's memory verse talks about the importance of being kind. It's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 6. It says, "We show that we are servants of God by our kindness." Have a happy Sabbath!
Good morning, Primary Sabbath School class. Happy Sabbath to all of you. It's good to see you. Thank you, Eric, for reminding us about our Sabbath School memory verse for this week and the importance of being kind. We're continuing our story of Jacob. Remember, he had to leave home because his brother was really mad at what he had done. And remember also, God reminded him that no matter where he went, he was always going to take care of him. In this week's story, Jacob finally reaches his family that was a long way away. Have you ever been on a long trip? Maybe you were going to visit Grandma and Grandpa, and they were so far away, and it took a long time to get there. Some of you may have flown in an airplane to go visit them. Some of you may have gone on a long car trip. Maybe a few of you rode on a train. But I'll bet none of you had to walk to go see your grandparents or any other of your family. But Jacob, they didn't have cars, and they didn't have planes, and they didn't have trains. He had to walk for 500 miles. Do you know how far that is? That would be like walking from your house to Disney World and back. That's a long way to walk. Now, if I walked that far, I would be so tired. I wouldn't want to do anything except sleep. But you know what Jacob does? Jacob, even though he may be really tired, he is kind and he is helpful. Let's see how we can be kind and helpful this week as well. Enjoy the story.
Can you think of a time where someone in your family helped you without being asked? What did they do for you? Did their kindness surprise you? Our story this week reminds us of something important. We learn how to serve others by being kind at home. It was morning, and Jacob woke up to continue his long journey to Haran. He had left his home because his brother was very angry with him. Jacob had tricked his father and had gotten a special blessing that should have gone to his brother. Because of this, his mom thought it was a good idea for him to go and stay with her brother Laban for a while. She also hoped that Jacob would find a wife there. The night before, while he had slept with a stone for his pillow, he had a dream. He had dreamed that he had seen a ladder and angels going up and down the ladder. Then God had spoken to him and promised to be with him. Jacob worshiped God when he woke up and had promised that God would be his God. Now he was ready to continue his journey. It was a long journey, about 450 miles altogether. It would take many, many weeks of walking. Finally, after many days and nights of traveling, Jacob neared the city of Haran. He hoped to find his mother's family there. His journey was almost over, and he was so glad. On the outskirts of Haran, Jacob saw a well. It was about noon, and 3 flocks of sheep were gathered there. Why are these flocks at the well in the middle of the day? He wondered. This well was different from those near Jacob's home. He saw that a huge stone covered the well's opening. There were no troughs from which the sheep could drink. Jacob approached the well and spoke to the shepherds gathered there. "My brothers, where are you from?" he asked. "We are from Haran," one shepherd replied. "Do you know a man named Laban who lives there?" Jacob questioned. "Yes, we know him," the shepherds answered. Then Jacob asked, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," replied one of the shepherds. "In fact, here comes his daughter Rachel with some of his sheep. She is a shepherdess." The man pointed to a young woman coming toward them. Jacob looked and saw Rachel coming to the well. She was leading a flock of sheep, but she was still quite some distance away. Jacob continued talking with the shepherds. "Tell me, why don't you water your sheep and take them back to the pasture?" he asked. "There is still a lot of daylight left." "We can't," they replied. "It is our custom to wait until all the flocks are gathered. When they are all here, we remove the big stone from the well. Then all the animals drink and we cover the well again." While Jacob and the shepherds talked together, Rachel and her sheep arrived. Jacob went over to the well. He kindly rolled the heavy stone away from the opening. Then he led his uncle Laban's sheep to the water and cared for them. He spoke kindly to Rachel. "I am Jacob, and I am one of your relatives. I have come a long way to meet your family. Your father's sister, Rebecca, is my mother." He was so glad to finally meet a relative that he began to cry. His long journey was over. He was with family again. "Please, wait right here," Rachel exclaimed. "I want to let my father know that you are here." Then she turned quickly and ran toward home. An excited Rachel told her father about Jacob. Laban was amazed that Jacob had come so far. He hurried back to the well with her. "How wonderful to meet you, Jacob!" he exclaimed. He hugged his nephew and kissed his cheeks, as that was their custom. "We're so glad you're here. Come, let's go home so we can visit." Laban led the way. Soon they reached Laban's home. There Jacob told his uncle about the family he had left behind. He talked about his mother, Rebekah, and how she had sent Jacob to Laban. And Uncle Laban welcomed his nephew Jacob into his home. Soon Jacob became a part of Laban's family. Yes, Jacob helped Rachel by removing the heavy stone from the well, and he helped her by watering the sheep. No one had to ask him to help. He showed courtesy and kindness to Rachel. Can you help others without being asked? By being kind to your own family, you learn to serve others. What will you do to serve others this week?
Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down by the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. James 1:17.
Happy Sabbath, juniors. We are on lesson 1, and the title for the lesson this week is called The Fugitive Heir. The lesson for this week is about a man called Mephibosheth. So, our PowerPoint for today is we reflect God's love when we treat everyone kindly. Now, you remember, David had promised King Saul and Jonathan that he would never do any harm to their families, right? But unfortunately, when he became king, most, if not all, of Jonathan's family and all of King Saul's family were all killed. So David one day decided, I need to show kindness to someone in Jonathan's family. And he started asking around, and a servant named Siba came and said, look, there is one son of Jonathan, but he's crippled and he is disabled, and his name is Mephibosheth. And when David called for Mephibosheth to come into the courtyard, he was lame and he dragged himself in, but David showed him kindness because from that day forward, Mephibosheth always had a seat at the king's table, and that was the highest honor he could have received. Now, parents, I'd like you to do an activity with your kids. Go online, and maybe some of you are familiar with this. When we were kids, we used to call these fortune tellers, and kids nowadays call these cootie catchers, right? I want you to make a cootie catcher or a fortune teller with your child, but it'll be a kindness fortune teller. So basically how it works is that you have numbers on the top. So let's say your child calls out number 3. So you're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Now there are words inside the catcher, and it says considerate, listener, generous, kind. Let's say that your child calls out kind. So we're going to spell it out, K-I-N-D. Okay, and then your child gets to pick the last one. So let's say we're going to pick out the generous tab. It says here, what do you do for fun and what can you share with others? That's a way of showing kindness. Another way that you can show kindness is, what's one thing that you can be kind in your community and share in your community? Another way of showing kindness is, how can you help a friend that's having a bad day? That's showing kindness. And finally, these are just examples. Give an example of a time that someone's kindness brightened your day. So remember, our PowerPoint for today is, we reflect God's love when we treat everyone kindly. This is a great lesson for all kids. It doesn't matter if they're able-bodied or differently abled. We should be kind to everyone. And I hope that's a lesson that we take for the rest of our lives. Happy Sabbath, and I'll see you in our Zoom class later on.
David's promise. David is king of Judah, but the people were sad about the death of Saul. They were sad to lose Jonathan, and some did not want David to be their king. Their loyalty remained with the house of Saul. For many years, the house of David and the house of Saul were at war. The house of David was much stronger, and the house of Saul could not be restored. David's army was victorious, and Saul's army was defeated. Now the crown belonged to David, and on Israel's throne he is seated. Years ago, David promised Jonathan to take care of his family. David had searched for Jonathan's relatives so he could bless them graciously. Jonathan had a son who survived the war. Mephibosheth was his name. His nurse dropped him when he was small. His legs were broken and he was lame. David's servants found out where Mephibosheth was hiding. He was brought before David, but inside he was shaking.
Jonathan, your father, was my dear friend. Don't be afraid, Mephibosheth,
David said.
You will inherit your father's lands. Your servants will work the ground and bake your bread. But you, Mephibosheth, will eat with me. Like my own son, you will be.
David kept his promise to Jonathan's heir. Mephibosheth remained under David's care.
Hi, my name is Isabella, and today's memory verse for the juniors class is, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I remain in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. John 15, verse 5. Have a happy Sabbath.
Hello, my early teens. How are you? Well, I hope. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Isabella for sharing this week's memory verse with us. Okay, so October 3rd, lesson 1, very first lesson of the 4th quarter. And I have a question for you. Now, the question may seem a little odd, but just bear with me, it will make sense in the end. So here's the question. How are your New Year's resolutions coming along? Well, that's if you had any New Year's resolutions at all, right? Yes, I know it's October, and by now you've either forgotten all about your resolutions or maybe you're keeping up with them. Now, what does that have to do with our lesson, which is entitled Spiritual Exercise, Cross Training? Now, a lot of you in my class are very artistic. Some of you are very musical, and we also have some of you who are athletic. So you know about sports, and you probably know about cross training, which is combining different types of sports or types of exercises to get stronger. Whether it's just to be stronger for the sake of being stronger or better at a sport, or maybe you're working towards something like a marathon or a tournament. Okay. Wow, let's reel it back a little bit. Yes. God created us with the idea that we would grow, develop, adapt, and improve over time and with age. How do I know that? Well, we're living testaments of that. After all, when you were born, you didn't even know how to sit or to stand or to talk or to walk or run or read or write. And now you could say that you can do all these things, and there are lots of other achievements that you have attained. Well, when it comes to our spiritual life, God also wants and expects us to grow. Yes, we're not meant to be stagnant in our faith or in our walk with Jesus. God wants us to grow each and every day and grow closer to Him each and every day. And just like in cross training, you do exercises over and over again, even though it's hard and it may even hurt. When it comes to our spiritual life, we're expected to do certain things over and over again. Read your Bible, spend time with God, alone with God, have your own personal worship, meditate on spiritual things of depth. Right? And just like our memory verse said today, Jesus is the vine and we are the branches. So He is our strength. And when we abide in Him, we will grow and we will bear much fruit. So that means that we need to make Jesus the most important part of our life. Now, I'm sure that sounds great, but how do we make it part of our
everyday routine. How do we do this in a practical way? Well, let's talk about that in our 1 p.m. Zoom meeting this afternoon. But in the meantime, here's a video, a short one, that you can enjoy. See you soon.
Jesus said, I am the vine, and you, the people, are the branches.
Branch? I'm not a branch.
I don't mean like a tree branch.
I don't get it.
The vine and branches were used by Jesus as an example. It means you are a child of the King. That's Jesus.
Really? That's awesome. Does that mean I get to wear a crown?
It gets even better than that. Not only are we children of the King, but when we look like Jesus, we will have fruit that sets us apart.
Oh yeah, I remember. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Those fruits come from being connected to Jesus, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And Jesus even says that those who remain connected to Him will produce fruit. But apart from Him, you can do nothing.
Kind of like when a light isn't plugged into a wall?
Exactly like that. Just like a light cannot function without being plugged in, we cannot function without being connected to Jesus. Jesus loves us so much that He wants to be close to us, like really close. He wants to be our greatest friend.
Really? So how do you get that close to Jesus?
By following God's commands and doing things like praying and attending church, we can get close to Him, and in return, He will get even closer to us. Jesus said that in doing this, we become like the disciples.
They were really close to Jesus, like best friend close.
And we can be too. We just have to stay connected to God all the time, not just in church.
He is the vine and we are the branches, and as long as we remain in Him, we will grow much fruit.
And that was our Sabbath School lesson review for this week. Now, parents, just like we've done all year between now and the 11 a.m. service, take a quick time to study the lesson with your children. Review the lesson with your children, because you guys should have been studying your lesson all week, right? Also, you can log on to miamitemple.org, and at the bottom of the website, there is Children's Ministry where you will find the lessons for your kids, all right? So we'll see you guys next week. Happy Sabbath. Bye.
Come on, clap your hands. Here we go. That's it. Yeah, we're all in this together and we're having fun. We're here to spread the love of God to everyone. Gonna get a little crazy, yeah, a little wild. Here we go now, come give it a try. Move it to the left now. Move it to the right. Find someone you don't know and give
watching Miami Temple Kids.